Alright, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today, man, we're going to be talking about the new Helldivers 2 situation that has come up, and it's a pretty unfortunate one, honestly, because as you probably know, if you've watched many of my videos over the last few months, I actually really like this game, and obviously a lot of other people also really loved this game, and it was one of those games where everything was kind of just going right for it. There was really no major controversies that were unfolding. The little situations that came here and there were just kind of like one day over the hill, kind of just bullshit, really. But this actually is doing a lot of damage to the reputation of Helldivers 2, unfortunately, and also at the same time, a lot of players are now, it seems like, trying to get refunds for the game and just like trying to get out as quick as they can. So you may have already seen the news. It was pretty big news yesterday. In fact, I just checked the Steam page, like the reviews, the little graph that they have on there, just to kind of see what we were talking about here. And there is currently 100,000 new negative reviews for the game on Steam, which is just fucking absurd. I mean, the game has like 425,000 overall reviews, which means in the last like 24, 48 hours or so, over a quarter of all the reviews for this game have popped up, and they have been very overwhelmingly negative. So the entire situation revolves around a change that is coming to Helldivers 2 that is clearly controversial with a lot of people. I personally have some pretty, I would say, strong feelings, maybe, I guess, about it. I don't think I care as much as some people do. Like, there are just some people on here who, like, I think would get way more screwed over than I ever could here, but I feel like they actually are right for being upset in this situation, and I'll explain why. So, Helldivers 2 is actually a game that's developed by Arrowhead Studios, right? It's their own little studio, but they are published by Sony, which means that technically, like, it's a Sony property or whatever, right? Because they're the ones putting the game out. So Helldivers 2, it is a PlayStation title. Let's get that clear. So for the last couple months, however long the game has been out now, let's say you're playing on PC like me. I have the game on Steam, right? Well, obviously, when you play on PlayStation, you have to play through Sony servers, the PlayStation Network, all that, you know, all that shit over there, right? But on PC, obviously, I'm not playing through PlayStation Network. I'm playing through what should be Steam servers or whatever, right? Or like I should be playing the Steam version of the game anyway. So for the longest time now, pretty much the entire time the game has been out, us on PC have been able to play the game online, sign in, whatever, without linking a Sony PlayStation account, okay? So the new change that's coming all of a sudden is basically, yeah, Sony wants you to link a Sony or PlayStation account, whatever you want to call it, to your Steam account. That way you can play Helldivers 2 online, which obviously that's the whole point of the game anyway. And it's created a pretty big controversy, not only for Helldivers 2 as a game, but realistically for Sony in general. Now, obviously, the idea of third-party publishers or, you know, these massive gaming companies trying to get you to sign into their, like, own launcher or their own website or link your account through them or whatever to games, this isn't a new concept, right? This is nothing new. It has happened with a lot of different games before, but there's some pretty important distinctions that need to be made about why this situation in particular is just a problem from the jump, right? Because people like to say, oh, but Microsoft makes you use a Microsoft account and whatnot, right? Well, the issue with this entire thing, right, is you have to make this change, which means you have to link your Sony account, but there's dozens of countries around the world I could list off. Making a PlayStation account is not possible because Sony is not allowed, you know, to do business there or whatever. You're not allowed to make accounts there for their stuff, for whatever reason, whatever local laws or regulations or whatever's going on, right? So people in so many different places around the world can't even sign up for a PlayStation account. And it doesn't matter if you've bought the game or not already, you have to make this change. So let's say you're in one of these dozens of countries around the world, you bought Helldivers 2 at launch, you've been enjoying and playing the game all this time, right? And then now you're basically forced to create an account for something you literally can't create an account for in order to continue playing this game, right? So we're at like a bypass where so many people around the world who are in the community who've been loving the game or whatever will now basically be screwed out of their purchase. And there's what can they do, really? You know what I mean? For instance, Steam has a typical policy where if you play a game for less than 2 hours, you can request a refund and you usually will get it. But it's much harder to get a refund for a game after you've past that 2-hour barrier. And for a lot of these people, obviously they've played more than 2 hours of the game in the last several months that it's been out. So what exactly are they supposed to do? No one really knows, because Sony didn't seem to think this through before they arbitrarily decided that this was a necessity, right? So the reason why Sony wants to make this change, I think the reason that they're telling everybody, and then there's my personal reason I think that they're doing it. So the stated reason basically is this is supposed to improve security. This is supposed to, improve the capabilities, I guess, of Sony to protect the players. From my understanding, one thing that they could do with this, like if they make you link a Sony account on Steam, is let's say you get banned on PC for cheating, right? If that were to happen. If you're linked with a Sony account, you couldn't just go get on your PS5 and get another copy of the game, right? And all the other reasons that Sony wants to say, oh, we're using this for security purposes, right? But if you're like me, I live in the US, right? For me, it's not about, oh, I'm going to get screwed out of my purchase. For me, it's the fact that I switched to PC and left PlayStation for a reason, right? Like, I don't want to deal with Sony that much anymore, right? Like, I'll play the occasional PlayStation game that comes up on Steam, like Helldivers 2, but I just vastly enjoy my experience away from Sony and gaming now much more. Like, I enjoy the fact being on Steam. I like that way more than PlayStation Network. It hasn't been necessary, first off, for the entire time this game has run. They had to literally go and scramble to get new servers put up. So many people were playing. And the security was good enough at that point that it didn't fall apart, Sony didn't have to step in and do anything then. But now that the game has started to settle down a little bit more, and it's getting, I don't want to say it's dying off, but it's like getting back down to from the stratosphere, right? Now all of a sudden they got to make this change and they want to do it for security. Also, in some countries and places around the world, to create a PlayStation or a Sony account, you have to literally upload, well, in this instance here, it could be something like your driver's license or, like some sort of ID that you have that has a picture of you on it that's like a government ID, or you could just, take a picture of yourself and fucking upload it so the picture can get scanned or whatever, right? But it's like, in order to play one game on my PC that I've been playing perfectly fine for dozens of hours up until now, I have to now, in some instances, submit my fucking government ID so that I can play this game online. Like, it's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. And let's wrap back around to that point of security, because this is an interesting point when it comes to Sony. If you go to Google right now and you search the phrase Sony data breach or Sony security breach, there will be so many different instances of them being hacked and millions of Sony users being affected or having their information stolen or having the PlayStation Network shut off for a period of time, having their fucking film studios infiltrated. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like every year or every 6 months, there's so many fucking results that pop up for security incidents with Sony that you can't even fit all of the results in the Google suggested search. But this is the company that's now telling you, hey, give us photos of your government ID. Give us pictures of yourself. Sign up for a Sony account or link an old dormant Sony account you never use anymore. And like I said, right, that's the stated reason, but I think there's a different reason, and I think a lot of other people speculate this as well. I think Sony or PlayStation right now is in the same predicament that everybody else in tech is in. Everything tech-based when it comes to like pleasing shareholders or pleasing the financial people, right? It all comes down to how much growth are we bringing in? How many more users this quarter did we have than last quarter? How many more active people this month are playing compared to last month? Because when they have that information and they can, piece those little fucking things together for their reports and whatnot, that's what makes the shareholders go crazy. That's what makes these executives money. In reality, this isn't even a change coming from Arrowhead, the developers. This isn't their idea. It's a corporate decision made by Sony and by PlayStation so that they can say, oh, hey, we have more users in Sony products this year. Hey, we have more people playing PlayStation games. Look at these number increases. It's all about data capture and whatnot. It has nothing to do with your security or my security or any of that shit. This is the same company that when I was in middle school, their whole network was shut offline for like, I don't know, a whole month damn near. How many times have they been hacked? I mean, Jesus Christ, like Sony's defensive situation is like Swiss cheese at this point, but they want to preach to us, oh, we're doing this for your guys' security, right? I just don't buy it. I think it's a corporate thing. I think it's being pushed down to fucking boost the numbers. And I get it. I understand how business works, fine. But I don't want to participate in that. I just want to play the game. I just want to have fun with my friends. And I don't want to have to worry every 3 or 4 months anymore if, you know, my fucking social security number or whatever is getting leaked in Sony's breach. I would hope they don't have my social, but you know what I'm saying. My fucking personal info, whatever, swap it with anything. It just like, who really wants to sit around and be like, man, let's put my Sony account together for this? Like, it's unnecessary. And I'm not even just saying this towards Sony. I don't like it when any developer does it for unnecessary purposes, right? Just let people play the fucking game. You know what I mean? That's the way I see things. But of course, I'm not the person making these games or working on them, so. But the reaction to all this has been pretty interesting. Like I said, people are pretty pissed off about this, and I think especially those who would be the ones who'd be getting their purchases completely screwed over in these countries where they can't make accounts. I think their concerns are the most valid out of everybody's, right? Some people are pretty fucking irate about this. Some people, you know, they don't care at all. Some people are even defending it and they think that it's fine. Oh, you know, everyone else does it. Why can't they, right? I get it, right? I understand these people saying that, but I really just don't think the people saying that understand the gravity of what it means to just free hand over info to Sony all the fucking time and like the true ramifications of a move like this, right? And one of the things I've been seeing people say in regards to the folks who can't create their accounts or whatever is, oh bro, just use a VPN and create it in a new area. Just put it in a country where you can that's nearby. Yeah, well, somebody from China, which China is a country that blocks you from making Sony accounts and PSN isn't available and whatnot. A person from China tried to use a VPN to, like, you know, create their account and whatnot, so it looked like they weren't in China, and it actually ended up banning the guy. So take a look at this. So on all these screenshots, it basically just shows how this guy, you know, he tried to do everything he could. Account's been banned for violating the terms of service, basically. It's sad. This is somebody who bought the game and was playing it and enjoying it, right? And now can't play it because of the whole Sony forcing you to create an account thing. And, well, I mean, surely this is going to happen somewhere else. There's just so many places around the world where this is going to be the case, I feel like. I don't know, man. It's one of those situations overall where I think this is a perfect example of somebody just like fucking flying ahead in the race and then just sticking a tripwire under their own foot and just fucking face planting, right? Helldivers 2 was on pace to be one of the biggest smash hits, not only of 2024, but of the last several years alone, right? Like this game, it sold so many copies, so many people excited, so many people loving to play it. And, you know, all this time, it's building up goodwill with the community. The developers are building up goodwill with the community. The stupid little controversies that pop up here and there, right? They go under the radar in like a day or two. Nothing too major comes along. People are enjoying it. You know, the community's still doing well. And then suddenly, not even by the developer's choice, Sony comes in and literally just creates a controversy out of thin air. Like, this whole situation was realistically just so fucking unnecessary. And of course, you know, Sony, they didn't jump out of the shadows to explain what was going on. They casually changed the phrasing on their web pages in the background and whatnot to make it, you know, just fucking seem like everything was normal. But of course, everybody who was pissed off about this, the first people that they look at and the first people they, you know, focus in on, it's the developers. For them, it's Arrowhead, right? It's these people. And from what it seems from like leaked messages out of the Discord and whatnot that have been popping up, first of all, it's Sony's decision, not ours. Secondly, we don't have all the details about region-related issues yet. We're chasing Sony to get more info. So it really just seems like Sony made this decision. They implemented everything they wanted to implement with this. And then they just kind of left the developers out to dry to take all of the PR nightmare of it and everything. And it just has tripped this game up so badly, man. This was a game that was just being like praised by the gaming community. And over a matter of a couple days, Sony comes along and just kicks it in the nuts, and it's sad to see. And now it turns out today that people have been requesting refunds through Steam who have passed that 2-hour barrier, right, that usually bans you from really getting a refund in most instances. Well, it turns out that because of the entire fiasco, it appears Steam is processing refunds for some people who are requesting. People are suggesting that you might have to do it multiple times and whatnot in order to actually get, you know, your shit processed by somebody who's going to really refund it. But apparently the refunds are starting to roll in for Helldivers 2. We won't really know how many people refunded or like what kind of effect it's actually going to have on the game. Keep in mind, this entire like controversy or whatever is focused entirely on PC too. So all the PlayStation 5 players or whatever, right? They're pretty much just out of this. They're like, yeah, this is normal to us. So this is really only like one half of the community that's really dealing with this. So it's kind of hard to tell how much of an effect it's actually going to have. But just like I said, a sad instance of a company shooting itself in the foot and throwing people under the rug and just kind of not informing them when they should have. I also feel like, too, to wrap this video up, if Sony was just like, hey guys, I know for the last few months this has been the way we've done things, but now we want to implement this change. Therefore, to make up for it, we are going to basically grant immunity to people who are in countries where they can't create an account or whatever, right? Only people in eligible countries have to make the accounts. And as a result for doing it, we will give you a free set of armor, or, you know, we'll give you the fucking battle pass for free or something, right? If they just made it an incentive thing where people felt like they actually got something out of it, I think the reaction would have just been totally different in this instance. The whole thing came off as like, oh yeah, this is how we're doing it, fuck off if you don't like it. And I think that's what really pissed off a lot of people in the community itself. Of course, the issue itself didn't help. That was the whole catalyst, but it just, I don't know, a PR nightmare that did not need to happen. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about the Helldivers 2 controversy, and signing out. And that's a wrap on this video, but big shout out to my Optimus Nation supporters. You guys are the real MVPs. For $10 a month, you get access to loads of exclusive videos and archived live streams, my members only Minecraft server where you can possibly appear in gameplay, early access to all new uploads, an invitation to the private Discord, and much more.